All right. Hello, everyone, and now welcome to a game. Ice Orc versus Robinson. This game taking place here on Tide Hunters 1.2. Let's go ahead and break things down as I speed things up to the 2-minute mark where the action begins. Ice Orc spawning as the yellow human player on the bottom right-hand side of the map. Meanwhile, Robinson spawning as the pink Night Elf. Heroes are going to be Keeper of the Grove going up against an Archmage. No surprises here as we, figure out their strategies, plans, and as they scout each other out here in this map. It looks as though there are going to be some early creeping action already going on. Robinson, no surprise, clearing this Ancient of War creep camp. Gonna try and make sure to land all of those last hits by the Keeper of the Grove, where Archer picks up the Gloves of Haste and now backs away to get a little bit of distance toward the 3 o'clock expansion, which Ice Orc is now clearing. Hello, everyone. Thanks for tuning in as we're looking at the Snarecaster trying to perhaps get it taken down quickly. We don't want to see too much slow being applied by those units there, as the Archmage does pick up a Ring of Protection +4. Keeper of the Grove gets a detonation in, finishes off the Water Elemental, gets to level 2, and now, the trees are out to play. Looking to put some pressure on some of those trailing militia. Meanwhile, Archmage has dropped a second Water Elemental, but without that, Brilliance Aura will be significantly slower in trying to churn those out. We're looking at perhaps a couple of treants getting cleaned up here. Keeper of the Grove has to make sure that he doesn't feed too much experience, and does exactly that. Robinson with the beautiful deny there, as the Archmage still sitting halfway to level 2. Now, at this point in time, Keeper of the Grove now heading back off to the north here. He could try and clear out some creep camps by himself. He does have the mana for it, and he's been maintaining that mana fairly well. Militia are on their way over, and they're going to be meted and greeted by the Keeper of the Grove with some treants again. However, Ice Orc's numbers seemingly enough to really, to really stop any of this, as we're looking at the militia now finishing off the last couple of murlocs here. There goes one more. Archmage wants to get some easy shots off, finishes off one treant now, and gonna be looking to finish off this last murloc there. Will he give level 2? Yes, he does. There's that Brilliance Aura, as we were expecting, as the militia are going to be getting to work. Now, with the fast expansion of Ice Orc, that will delay his tech to tier 2. Robinson's tech to tier 2, on the other hand, is already well on its way, more than 2/3 of the way. And here comes the question. Will Robinson be going for a Tavern hero, say a Panda or a Goblin Alchemist, to try and put pressure with that second hero much more quickly? A very, very common strategy, using that tempo, being able to train at the tavern instead of having to train the hero back at home, and having it also be well on its way out there on the battlefield. There goes one peasant. Every peasant out here on the battlefield means a significant delay, as well as we're looking at a couple of giant sea turtles joining in on the fight as well. Keeper of the Grove has to be very careful, though. He is dangerously low on hit points and could easily end up getting surrounded, as the Keeper of the Grove now looks to retreat back. The tech to tier 2 looks like it is nearly done. We could be getting up a Tavern hero in just a moment. Not quite sure what the Keeper of the Grove wants to grab, but he does need a Staff of Teleportation or some way to head back home, drink from these Moonwells before heading back out again. It is going to be a Panda, so Robinson does go for a Tavern hero Panda, but opts to do creeping instead of trying to put too much pressure early on at the Expo. The Expo is already up and operational, and that Scout Tower looks like it will finish upgrading to an Arcane Tower here. So Robinson not going to be able to easily punish that Expo there. Great job by Ice Orc in order to set that up, bringing in the right amount of units, as the Archmage looks to now get to level 3. Very low hit point Footman getting taken out by, by a Reef Elemental there, as it looks to retreat back again. Archmage just shy of level 3, gonna take down this giant sea turtle creep camp. Meanwhile, Keeper of the Grove and Panda gonna be both sitting at level tier 2 after clearing out this rock golem creep camp. Back inside the base of Robinson as well, we can see that we are going into an Ancient of Lore, teching the Tree of Eternity And, well, looking to go for perhaps dryads and or bears. Archmage, now with a full item set, has claws of attack +5 here. So I guess those changes that were yesterday, they may be map specific. +5 claws of attack instead of actually saying +4, +7 damage overall with that mantle of intelligence as the Keeper of the Grove moves on its merry way. Meanwhile, coming back around, we are looking at Vampiric Aura on the Brewmaster. That may easily be sold as there is only one melee unit for now, but it could incentivize the use of Druids of the Claw alongside those Dryads, getting a little bit of that Vampiric healing as well. Alright, Brewmaster looking to tank quite a bit of that damage as the archers are dishing it out here. Off to the north side, Archmage looking to clear out this Snarecaster creep camp. Doesn't really have the item slots to pick up anything else. So is he going to destroy the item if he doesn't need it? Not quite sure about that. It is going to be another Claws of Attack +4. He could drop just or use the Dust of Appearance here as we're looking at the Panda getting a Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire off onto a couple of these units. Are we going to perhaps see some more damage again? One footman gets taken down. A Dryad was there. There's another kill as well. A Purge onto the Brewmaster will give. And now the Brewmaster clearing out this creep camp will get to level 3. Maybe even the Keeper of the Grove as well. No, going to be a little bit shy as the Brewmaster is taking some of that experience still. Water Elemental trying to finish off this Tide Warrior here. Claws of Attack +4 being left off to the north as the Panda makes his way off to the north side here and gets in another nice Breath of Fire. We are looking at a second Tree of Life being placed down by Robinson, oddly enough. And now perhaps trying to get an expo for himself. The Snarecaster does end up surviving after all that time. Keeper of the Grove heading off to the north here. Goblin Alchemist as the second hero, interestingly enough, as we see the Keeper of the Grove perhaps getting to get into a little bit of trouble. With the Keeper of the Grove's Entangle, I do not believe that Goblin Alchemist will be able to effectively use Healing Spray very often. That long-channeled ability and will get shut down. But then again, the Keeper of the Grove may not be able to maintain that mana as we see some, well, Robinson's Dryad needs to back up a little bit and then join back in on the fight, taking a bit too much piercing damage from that giant sea turtle. Coming back around, there is that Alchemist doing that healing spray there, keeping all of these footmen alive. Meanwhile, the Panda, sitting at level 3, did pick up those healing wards, so able to tank a large amount of damage and clear out this giant sea turtle creep camp. Alright, in terms of creeping, it really does feel like Robinson has the advantage there, but well, currently behind in terms of supply and gold count, as Ice Orc now goes into low upkeep. Keeper of the Grove looking to get in some easy entangles, easy pressure here. Sorceress is joining in on the battlefield. This expo or outpost looks more like a second base now, as the Keeper of the Grove going to be forced to retreat all the way back home, down to 120 hit points. Meanwhile, back off to the north, Brewmaster looking to clear out this Null Warden creep camp is full on items, and this is something you got to be careful about. As you're creeping, we are looking at a Wand of Illusion as well that can be easily used up to try and pick up one more powerful consumable item from this gargantuan sea turtle. Those powerful consumable items really do shift the tide of battle here, as the Alchemist does pick up True Shot Aura for those ranged units, the Sorceresses, Priest, Archmage as well, and that Water Elemental. Archmage already up to +13 damage without the Orb of Fire. No sign of Orb of Fire as we are currently staying at tier 2. Meanwhile, Illusion Panda now walking around here. Scroll of the Beast picked up by the Brewmaster. That could be sold as well, as we already have Druids of the Claw out on the battlefield. Tree of Life now looking to finish off this last creep here. Should pick up the Claws of Attack +4 that was left behind earlier. And now, well, Ice Orc with the earlier advantage with that Expo, but letting Robinson clear and creep out the majority of the map is not going to work out well. Archmage comes across here, going to lob an attack against that healing ward quickly. Brewmaster going to be forced to retreat back. We could be looking at some rejuvenations as well, as the Ancients of Lore should be churning out those Druids of the Claw. Moonwell is completely bone dry now, but we are going into Nightfall momentarily, as we are also looking at some Fairy Dragons too. All right, level 4, level 2, going up against a level 3, level 4, nearly level 5 Panda. And, well, what is going to end up going down here? Panda, if he can get a good Drunken Haze Breath of Fire across the backline units, those sorceresses and those priests, well, they start to take damage very quickly. Meanwhile, the Druids of the Claw in the front line spot also have the benefit of that vampiric aura, so they'll be dishing out large bouts of damage against those Spellbreakers while healing themselves up quite a bit. There's a Drunken Haze, there's a Breath of Fire, and there's that damage over time that we were talking about. Mana Flare in the back. Fairy Dragon does have that bit of bonus armor as both sides fighting their way through. One Footman getting taken down, as the battle definitely in favor of Robinson so far. Another Drunken Haze Breath of Fire, as the Brewmaster just needs a little bit more mana. A level up will do it, increase the damage output, and it looks as though a Scroll of Healing was used in time to prevent any more big Breath of Fire. Militia now coming over and nearly getting blown out again, as we see Staff of Preservation. Keeper of the Grove still sitting only at level 3 after all this time, as the Militia are still fighting their way through. Now, Ice Orc has lost a lot more, but the, well, army size advantage of, Druid of the Claw. Robinson leaving one Druid of the Claw a little bit too far away from the action, trying to retreat back. That is not going to be good there, as the Alchemist with Boots of Speed should be able to close in on that location. All right, trying to get in a little bit of damage here. Spellbreakers turning back around to this Druid of the Claw, down to 127 hit points. Are we perhaps going to see a Staff of Preservation save? Yes, we are. Saving that Druid of the Claw there and buying a little bit of time. Meanwhile, Panda, up to 270 mana already. We are going to be getting in some repairs. Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire across all of those peasants. Those peasants are just going to, well, burn to death and get taken down, as the Water Elementals could get abolished quickly. All right, Brewmaster still has enough for another Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire combination. Are we looking at that? We should be looking at that. There's that Drunken Haze, there's that Breath of Fire, but the Tree of Life is lost. A tactical push by Ice Orc shuts down the Expo, and Robinson now sitting upside down on supply, 59 over 50. Robinson does have that hero level advantage, level 5 on that Panda, and nearly level 4 on that Keeper of the Grove. But economically speaking, well, Ice Orc may be able to rebound, retrain, and build back up. Ice Orc also doing a good job clearing out this red creep camp on the top right-hand side of the map. Should be able to pick up a great item from that Granite Golem, and that may be that little bit of extra oomph that he needs to get out ahead. All right, Warsong Battle Drums, an additional 7% damage bonus. So look at these auras on the Archmage. Warsong Battle Drums, True Shot Aura, and Brilliance Aura, beautiful items, especially for all of the casters. The sorceresses and the priest really don't have any way of dealing additional damage. No upgrades really pushing their damage aside, right? However, Warsong Battle Drums and True Shot Aura is the one item that actually benefits the entire human army composition right now. Meanwhile, we're looking at Panda looking to push on in. Robinson's army size actually comparable, 51 compared to 56, as the Panda, is he going to try and do some Breath of Fire damage across these buildings here? There's a rejuvenation there. Fairy Dragon in position. The barracks could end up getting taken down. Are we going to see a knight make its way out onto the battlefield first? No, we are not. We are going to look at a paladin joining out here on the battlefield, as the Panda, well, needs to be careful not to get feedback too much by that arcane tower. All right, already looking to get a little bit of separation on that distance. Low hit point, or low mana Druid of the Claw now coming back across here. Where is the Scroll of Town Portal inbound? Here we are, here we go. Are we going to see a Drunken Haze Breath of Fire? Yes, we are, and a bunch of missing, as that Drunken Haze now coming into effect here. Alchemist could be in a little bit of trouble. There's some Holy Light coming back across, as the bears are trying to claw their way through. Brewmaster does have a potion of mana. Is he going to use a... Yes, and there's a Drunken Haze. Breath of Fire again, trying to rack up more damage as the units are retreating. Water Elementals are going to get taken down as the Keeper of the Grove is now at 4, but a level up, I believe... Nope, I thought I saw a level up. Maybe that was earlier there, as we see another Abolish Magic now. Brewmaster still trying to push his way through as the Healing Spray counteracting that Breath of Fire rather nicely as the Spellbreakers trying to, well, rejoin in on the fight here. One Spellbreaker not going to be so lucky. Panda doesn't have that much mana, but could easily finish off at least a couple of those footmen here as the units are retreating back. 60 supply compared to 66. And, well, Robinson trying to hold off on one base for now as he re-entangles that gold mine. Currently watching... Oh, no problem, Dave. No problem. I understand. Back to WarCraft. Well, yeah, back to WarCraft, able to go longer as well. But, well... watching, supporting. Thank you all you guys who are watching on YouTube right now. I guess I'll do a little bit of a plug in the middle. If you guys do have an Amazon, free Amazon Prime subscription, do consider using it for my channel if you want to support the content. Every little bit does definitely help. Even watching helps. So thank you. Thank you all the viewers. Coming back around. Alchemist sitting at level 3, our Archmage sitting at 4, getting a good gauge on the situation here. Robinson, well, looking to perhaps pick off a couple of units as they are in fleeing mode. That slow poison doing exactly that, enabling the Dryads to perhaps get a little bit of separation distance between some of these units. Now, the Spellbreakers are going to be able to easily take away any of the roar that Robinson casts, and it comes as a weird scenario because the Spellbreakers themselves are the main damage dealers. All right, and because they are immune to magic, the roar would then just be given to the priests. What ends up happening, oddly enough, is that the Spellbreakers, if they spend too much time, well, doing that spell steal and then trying to take all of that roar away, well, you end up with Spellbreakers who aren't actually attacking. They're just casting spells, and then bolstering the army that isn't really able to dish out damage. So that's something you have to be aware of, leaving those Spellbreakers on autocast. Meanwhile, a couple of bears, back line a little bit odd. Brewmaster should push his way in a little bit forward. A lot of bears, 3 bears in the backfield, unable to engage. Perhaps some Staff of Preservations are going to be needed to pull out some tactical retreats on some Druids of the Claw, opening up a little bit more space. Now Brewmaster should still shuffle down off to the side here. You can see these Druids of the Claw are just in a bad spot as one low hit point bear trying to retreat back now. All right, Potion of Greater Healing used by Robinson. Another Breath of Fire, still has a decent amount of mana as the Spellbreakers are trying to slowly chip away at that Brewmaster's mana again. All right, Druids of the Claw are going to retreat back. Are we going to be looking at another Drunken Haze Breath of Fire? Breath of Fire across all of those Riflemen, but the Archmage and Brewmaster combination with Healing Spray going to, well, recover from there. All right, a lot of Druids of the Claw, a lot of Pandas, or I guess a lot of bears, back at home needing to get healed up. Druids of the Claw need to get healed up here. There's a Moonstone being used. Rejuvenation galore across the armies. Once again, this Druid of the Claw needs a rejuvenation. Not quite sure why he's running away so far, as we are looking at one Druid of the Claw still in Druid form in the frontline spot. That's not where he wants to be, but without the threat of a Mountain King's Stormbolt, the Druid of the Claw is safe for now. All right. Or it looks like the Moonwells are pretty much bone dry again after that Moonstone use. Robinson has bounced back and now looking to get to level 6 on that Brewmaster and access Earth, Storm, and Fire. Should be, should be a great push here in just a moment. Meanwhile, human army looking fairly strong with those flying machines, to counter the fairy dragons who have been mana flaring that entire back row, including the alchemist. Now, unit's going to try and engage here. There's some auto attacks into the air. Flying machine's going to get into position, and here we are. Those fairy dragons could phase shift. There's a Drunken Haze, Breath of Fire. A priest are now trying to retreat back. Damage is racking up. Healing spray as the alchemist ends up standing still for just a little bit. Fairy dragons in 2 separate locations. However, one does get taken down, giving level 5 to the archmage. Another level ups galore here. Double level up for the alchemist paladin, but Earthstorm and Fire now available for that panda. Druids of the Claw are in that frontline spot. Mana are trying to get as much vampiric aura going. Where's that vampiric aura? It is on the Earthstorm and Fire panda. Even though you don't see the item here on any of the pandas, they still get that vampiric aura. I was not aware of that. All right. 20 plus years of playing and watching Warcraft 3, and I did not know if Earthstorm and Fire, or if the panda had an aura, even if... I guess the question then becomes, who applies the aura? Right? Like, that is flat out weird, because Earthstorm and Fire themselves do not have the aura, but the pandas did, or the bears did. Right? That's confusing, right? Unless someone's going to be like, no, Crota, you're absolutely wrong. This is how it works, and it is going to explain it to me. I'm like, oh, all right. Coming back around, Brewmaster looking to head back, get away again. He's a little bit separated from his army. Staff of Teleportation to head back home here. And there he is going to go ahead and line back up. Meanwhile, Ancient of War at the opening of this base, acting as a bouncer, trying to stop this incoming onslaught. Meanwhile, Robinson ready to transform additional bears, as fairy dragons are going to be in a bit of trouble getting, well, shot down out of the sky, even with their bonus armor. Fairy dragon now making its way back across here as the Dryad are trying to poke them down. All right, Hippogriff should not be able, well, with that additional vampiric aura, may be able to regenerate quite a bit. Nope, doesn't regenerate hit points against, I guess, flying machines, as the Dryads are still fighting their way through once again. Staff of Preservation for the save. Staff of Preservation with that very short cooldown has been a very big deal indeed, as the panda wants to blow over these knights and these spellbreakers, but, well, unable to do so. 80 supply compared to 67. Ice Orc with the larger army, even though it's inside the home field base advantage for Robinson. Both sides exchanging blows. Dryads are, well, low on hit points, trying to engage here off to the side. Who's going to come out on top, as the riflemen are going to try to start focus firing down some of those low hit point unarmored Dryads, even though they are fully upgraded as well. Riflemen 0-0 upgrades against the Dryads 0-3. Sorry, only 0-3 upgrades here, as Dryads are getting cleaned up easily. All right, back off to the north. The Knights trying to charge on in, and then realizing, wait a second, I went a bit too far. What am I going to do now? As the Druids of the Claw are just still low on hit points, trying to stay alive here. All they can really hope for is a bunch of low hit point units to have problems. Panda going to be in a bit of an issue, as the Paladin now gets up to level 3. Keeper of the Grove seen at level 5, not close to level 6 at all for Tranquility, as Druids of the Claw are now getting cleaned up. All right. Ice Orc strikes while the iron is hot. So many of the units are currently teal, as Earthstorm and Fire now on a line to try and turn things back the other way. Druid of the Claw going to get in a quick kill on a knight, but get exchanged as well, as the Keeper of the Grove still staying at level 5. All right, Alchemist. Is he going to get an Entangle? Yes, he does. He does get an Entangle, followed by a Potion of Greater Healing. Meanwhile, Panda's Fire is trying to burn out the Alchemist here, who's currently staying at level 5. Earth and Storm. Or Storm still available here. Earth is still right there as well. He's down to 107 hit points. He could easily get taken down as well, as Storm is in the back position with that piercing damage, trying to finish off all these knights. Did Ice Orc overstay his welcome? That is the question now, as damage is still racking up slowly. Panda sitting at level 6. Could he get to level 7? Yes, gets to level 7 now, as the Keeper of the Grove gets healed back up and now trying to fall back again. Staff of Preservation could have teleported just enough to try and stay alive again, as the Keeper of the Grove finds a knight and is going to cause him, doesn't cause him to get taken down, as the Paladin gets a Holy Light and the Priest able to get a Dispel off in time. 58 supply compared to 41, or 58 compared to 47, but the army size 41 compared to 37, so much closer in terms of army. Now, we also looking at the 3 o'clock position no longer having any gold. That is a big setback, as we see an ancient protector being built off to the side here. Robinson is now trying to build up a large enough army to combat here. Ice Orc, well, had his opponent up against the ropes but was unable to finish the job, and now the Keeper of the Grove is just that much closer to level 6. A level 6 Keeper of the Grove with no way to stun him that I see. No Mountain King, no Cyclone, no no Goblin Tinker, nothing of that sort, as the Archmage is now looking to shut down the Ancient of Lores and perhaps halt production. Druid of the Claw now in the backfield here. Is he going to try and engage here? Or is he going to, well, no, he is going to try and engage, but not be able to do very much. And this could give, no, does not give level 6 to the Archmage, but gives level 5 to the Alchemist. Archmage did get level 2 Brilliance Aura here, as we are still cleaning things up, and the Keeper of the Grove is now at 6. All right, all bets are off on who is going to win here. We see multiple levels, 2 level 5 heroes and a level 3 paladin. That should make it extremely difficult to kill any of the heroes. Archmage may actually get to level 6 because of the Ancients. Level 6, the Ancients actually giving enough experience to the Archmage to level up here. And now, with the Archmage sitting at level 6, well, until he's out of mana, the Keeper of the Grove has to be careful. There's Tranquility now being used in order to try and put in pressure here. If the Archmage tries to retreat back away, the Keeper of the Grove can then use Entangle as well, as the Dryads are a bit low on mana and unable to abolish magic here. Both sides still fighting. There goes a healing spray as well. There's Earthstorm and Fire being used for the 3rd time, and both sides still fighting again. All right, Keeper of the Grove. Well, does the Bears? Yeah, Bears still have that Vampiric Aura. Meanwhile, Fire has Vampiric Aura. All right, so Fire and Earth both have Vampiric Aura. I must have clicked on Storm, and that's why there was no Vampiric Aura earlier. I don't know, I'll have to watch the video again. Paladin, Divine Shield, able to stay alive. Both sides, Alchemist getting, well, Cyclone picked up to try and stop that healing spray, as both sides are fighting their way through. Are we going to get enough mana once the Earthstorm and Fire comes to an end to perhaps blow over a couple of these units? Druid of the Claw now trying to retreat back. It is down to 79 hit points. No Staff of Preservation. Not quite sure why not. That would be a perfect timing to waste all of that time, as the Druid of the Claw does get taken out. All right, Panda, there's that Breath of Fire trying to blow over a couple of units. Unable to do that, as the Keeper of the Grove retreats back again. 47 supply compared to 30. 18 supply army compared to 42, as we see more healing getting underway. All right. We can see mining is happening here, long distance mining happening here, but with no way for Robinson to spend his gold. Well, that's the problem. He has the gold now, but nothing, no real way to spend it. All right, he needs an item shop. He needs something. There goes an Entangle onto a Knight there. Perhaps some Staff of Preservations. Keeper of the Grove now looking to back away. This could be a problem. Are we going to see some fights get through here? Dryads don't have mana. Panda now trying to get a little bit of separation here. We could see a Staff of Preservation, and it does get the Keeper of the Grove off to the side and somehow stay alive, as now the Brewmaster is going to go ahead and teleport off to the north. Ancient of Wonders, dual Ancient of Wonders being placed down. All of these Moonwells are completely bone dry here, as a couple of Dryad, or a Dryad and a Hippogriff, makes their way off to the north. Ancient of Lore is going to get taken out here. New Ancient of Lores need to be trained, otherwise Robinson will not be able to build them any longer once the Tree of Eternity is cleaned up on the bottom left. All right, little bit of break here. Now, all that's left for Ice Orc to do is tactical hits if he wants to win this game outright. He knows that Robinson has not been able to retrain up his army nearly as much, but at the same, so he has a little bit of time that he's, well, a little time that to buy. But once these dual Ancients of Lore are up and operational, you better believe Druids of the Claw will be back out here on the battlefield. Meanwhile, Robinson does have a couple of Moonwells sitting off over here, so he can easily regain mana on his Keeper of the Grove and the Brewmaster. Now we are looking at some interesting item selections. Ring of Superiority being left behind, anti-magic potion being picked up. Not quite sure what that is about, as well, I guess it would absorb a little bit of damage from the sorceresses here. All right, getting ready for an engagement. All right, both sides going to fight their way through. Panda going to come back across here. Are we going to see some attacks and Breath of Fire damage getting racked up here? Moonwell pretty much already bone dry as both sides are fighting again. Paladin already quickly with that Divine Shield. Orb of Venom on the Keeper of the Grove. Earthstorm and Fire now out here on the battlefield to try and poke apart some of those units. Staff of Preservation for the save as we see a Holy Light saving a low hit point priest there. All right, Riflemen need to get cleaned up as Dryads are still making their way out on the battlefield here again. Abolish Magic could come into play to perhaps stop some of these water elementals as Storm is now trying to retreat back. It looks like Earth and Fire have been taken out. Storm can easily wind walk away as well, as both sides could fight their way. No, Earth and Fire are off over here. Take it back. Couple of water elementals going to get abolished into a puddle again, as the Dryads could try and, well, slow things down. Meanwhile, more damage getting racked up here. The Dryad has a little bit of distance to try and recover as the Panda gets a Breath of Fire off on a Knight. Brewmaster down to 150 mana, going to try and reposition again and perhaps fight his way through. A little bit of Orb of Venom damage. Multiple Dryads off over here. Keeper of the Grove, is he just going to stand there in Tranquility? That's the question. No, it gets a entangle onto the Alchemist, and then Staff of Preservations back to the Tree of Life Expo. There's that Tranquility. Dryad down to 75 hit points, going to be able to stay alive here, and all of the Dryads are going to heal back up once more. Keeper of the Groves, Tranquility really making a big push here as the Brewmaster gets up to level 8, and there is the game. Robinson outlasting Ice Orc in a game where hero levels made the ultimate difference. A beautiful game going back and forth, and once these Ancients of Lore were able to start churning out and producing units, Ice Orc's long distance mining simply couldn't do a thing. All right, shutting down this expo on the bottom left here ultimately became the ultimate victory point. Let's take a look at the final scores. All right, Robinson and Ice Orc. Robinson inching out ahead, the hero score being the major difference there, even though he only had a level 8 and a level 6 going up against a 6/5/4. Those ultimate abilities, Earthstorm and Fire being used regularly and effectively, a very big difference there, coupled with Tranquility. The usefulness of Tranquility significantly dropped once Robinson's army shrank to small numbers and he had no way to churn out any more units. Once those Dryads were back out on the battlefield, well, that Tranquility was just too much of a hit point shift and was the final nail in the coffin. Let me know what you guys thought about this game in the comments below. I also tried to change my casting style. If you got to this point of the video, I tried to change my casting style a little bit, giving more analysis and less of the describing of what was happening in every single instance. And let me know how that sounds, if it feels better. I know silence is something that you don't often want in a play-by-play cast, but I've heard it enough over the years where, you know, sometimes I can just let the game speak for itself. Let me know what you guys thought about the quality of this cast as well. Thanks for watching.